So you want to master a new language, right? But you're kind of tired of the endless cycle of apps and tutorials that just don't seem to get you anywhere. Well, we're going to break down a really simple method you can do all by yourself, one that actually cuts through the noise and gets the job done.
Yeah, right. The source material for this whole thing kicks off with this line, and you can just feel the sarcasm dripping off of it. Because let's be real, we all know it's not simple. But maybe, just maybe, the way we've all been trying to do it is just way too complicated.
So here's our game plan. First up, we're going to look at the huge trap that pretty much everyone falls into. Then we'll get serious about why you're really doing this. After that, we dive into the core of it, the 3-step solo method, and we'll wrap up with that final piece of the puzzle that takes you beyond just knowing words.
Okay, let's start with what almost everybody gets wrong. It's the super frustrating cycle, but hey, seeing it for what it is, that's the first step to actually breaking free.
Does this sound painfully familiar? You pick some language that sounds cool, you do like one lesson on an app, then you forget about it for a week. And then you spend the next month just watching videos about learning the language instead of, actually learning it. It's the perfect recipe for getting absolutely nowhere.
So, how do we fix this whole mess? Well, it all boils down to your why. Why are you even learning this in the first place? Having the right motivation is basically the engine that's going to power you through when things get tough.
And this is a question you really have to ask yourself, honestly. Is your reason for learning strong enough to keep you pushing forward when it gets hard? Because trust me, it is absolutely going to get hard. Now check out the difference here. These bad motivators, they're kind of vague, right? Understanding anime or getting YouTube views, they just fizzle out. But look at the good ones. They're real, they're necessary, they're personal. Being able to talk to your friends, passing a class you need to graduate, or, surviving an invasion, those are reasons that have some serious staying power. Motivation is also about playing it smart. This chart shows you pretty clearly that not all languages are the same level of difficulty if you're coming from English. So if you're just starting out, picking an easier one like Spanish or French is a game changer. It dramatically boosts your chances of actually sticking with it. Don't set yourself up for failure by jumping straight into a language that takes over 2,000 hours to learn, unless you've got a really good reason. All right, so you've picked your language, you've got a rock-solid reason to learn it. Now for the core of this whole thing, a simple method you can do entirely by yourself. Yeah, this is for all you introverts out there. It really just boils down to these 3 things. Seriously, that's it. Learn the foundation, train your ear to the new sounds, and then train your mouth to make them. So let's break each one down. Okay, step 1. And this might sound a little old school, but hear me out. The source material is super clear on this. Forget the ops for a minute. The single most effective way to learn the basics, the grammar, how sentences are actually built, is to get a simple beginner's textbook with exercises and actually do them. And if you're not convinced, look at this. It's kind of wild. The focused, structured learning you get from just 1 month with a good textbook can give you more progress than 2 entire years of just casually tapping on an app. I mean, that's an insane return on your time. So once you've got those basics down, it's time to tune your ear. And the method is pretty fun, actually. Find YouTube videos in that language that you'd watch anyway, stuff you're genuinely interested in. If it's too fast, just add the word easy to your search. The sweet spot is understanding about 30% of it, enough that you can start picking up new words from context. And here's the crucial tip. Turn on the captions, but only in the language you're trying to learn. And that brings us to the single biggest, most tempting mistake you can possibly make. Do not, I repeat, do not turn on the English subtitles. Your brain will just get lazy and read the English, and you will absorb almost nothing of the spoken language. Seriously, turn them off. Okay, so you have the basics, you're training your ear. Now for the scary part, right? Speaking. But no, you don't need to find a language partner just yet. Turns out all you really need is your phone. So here's the game plan. Start simple. Pause those videos you're watching and just repeat sentences out loud. Then level up. Record yourself just talking about your day. And here's the key. If you get stuck on a word, just say it in English and keep going. Don't break your flow. You can watch it back later and look up the words you missed. It feels weird at first, but this is what being self-taught actually looks like. So you've done the 3 steps. You've built this incredible foundation all without talking to a single soul. But the journey isn't quite over. Eventually, you're going to want to use these new skills in the real world. And that's when you realize fluency is about so much more than just words. Think about it this way. You might have this romantic image of visiting France in your head, right? Strolling down charming Parisian streets. But the reality on any given day could be a little different. You might show up and find the entire capital city is blockaded by hundreds of angry farmers on tractors.
And here's the kicker. If you ask a local what in the world is going on, they might just shrug and tell you, oh, this is just a normal day in France. Because to them, it is. It's a form of political protest, of cultural expression, that's just part of the fabric of the country. And without that cultural context, you're totally lost, no matter how good your friendship. And understanding that context means knowing how people actually talk about stuff. I mean, look at this. One news source might paint these farmers as a bunch of angry troublemakers, while another sees them as revolutionary heroes. Knowing those different perspectives is what lets you have a real conversation about what's actually happening in that culture. So this is the final, crucial takeaway. To truly, truly master a language, you have to plug into the culture. You need to follow their news, their politics, their debates. That is what turns your vocabulary list into real, living understanding. So we'll leave you with this question to chew on. Forget about apps and streaks for a second. Think about a real person, a real situation. What is the one conversation that gives you that powerful, practical reason to start this journey? Figure that out and you're already halfway there.